Welcome to Bike Ride Reviews. I'm your host, Scott. Today we're reviewing Fiido's latest bike, the Nomads, which Fiido calls a touring e-bike that benefits from cross-country inspired geometry and can be outfitted to carry 2 extra batteries on its rear rack. Fiido says this bike is the perfect companion for all-terrain travel and city exploration. So does the Nomads really deliver on this promise? And how far can it travel using all 3 batteries? Join me now as we find out. The Nomads arrives partly assembled, with plenty of protective foam padding. Final assembly includes attaching the handlebars to the stem and securing the front wheel to the fork with the hybrid quick-release axle. Next, you install the display into the stem, plug in the connectors, mount the headlight to the stem, and install the saddle, seat post, and pedals. The bike arrives with the cargo rack and fenders only partly mounted, so completing that is the last job. I also received the optional range extender kit, which consists of 2 batteries, 2 aluminum cages, and 2 water-resistant pouches. It costs $600 and sounds great, but more on that later. Fiido markets the Nomads as a touring e-bike with cross-country inspired geometry. The bike is only available as a step-over with a white finish, but it does come in 2 sizes. Fiido says that the medium fits riders from 5'5" to 6'3", and the large fits from 5'9" to 6'9". The aluminum frame has a 120mm hydraulic suspension fork with adjustable preload and a lockout. Fiido says it can carry 120 kilograms, which is just under 265 pounds. The Nomads is an EU-compliant Class 1 pedelec. That means that there's no throttle, and pedal assist is limited to 15.5 miles per hour. The 36-volt electrical system includes an Akima-branded hub motor with 250 watts of power and 45 Nm of torque, a 36-volt, 11.6 amp-hour or 417.6 watt-hour battery, and a MyVice torque sensor. The removable battery lives in the down tube and is secured by a key-operated lock. The Nomads is certified to EN 15194, which covers many of the same requirements as UL 2849 and UL 2271, and is mandatory in most of Europe. This attests to the bike's safety, but for areas like New York City, where UL certification is required, this isn't sufficient. The Nomad's IP54 rating for weatherproofing means it can withstand water splashes from any direction. But this isn't ideal for riding in heavy rain. The bike has 2 sets of controls, the 6-button unit next to the left grip, and an integrated display with the power button, a button labeled M, and a second set of up and down buttons. The Nomads has 29-inch spoked aluminum rims with 2.1-inch CST Patrol tires. The front wheel has a hybrid quick-release through axle, and the rear uses a nutted axle. The drivetrain consists of a Shimano Alivio trigger shifter, a 44-tooth chainring, an Altus rear derailleur, and a 9-speed 11 to 32-tooth cassette. The brakes are Tektro HD M275 hydraulic discs with 180mm rotors, but there's no motor cutoff. The cockpit includes an adjustable stem and 720mm riser handlebars, wearing lock-on rubber grips. The other touchpoints are a Velo touring saddle and aluminum platform pedals. The Nomads has full coverage fenders, a rear rack rated to carry 59 pounds, and integrated lights, with a pair of tail lights built into the seat stays. The rear lights offer awareness lighting and turn signals, but there's no brake activation. Finally, there are bottle cage mounts on the seat tube and down tube. The Fiido phone app provides access to some features like tracking and advanced controls, but the app is clunky, and sometimes the adjustments didn't sync with the bike. Restarting the bike and reconnecting the app fixed this, but I found the app unreliable and frustrating to use. Fiido says that this large frame fits riders from 5'9" to 6'9", and indeed with the saddle adjusted for my 6-foot body, there was plenty of room left on the seat post. However, the long 19.3-inch reach left me leaning very far forward, even after adjusting the stem angle. If you're 6 feet or below and you prefer a more upright position, the medium is likely to be a better choice, as it fits riders up to 6'3", and it has a shorter reach of 16.8 inches. The 250 watt motor provides smooth and measured acceleration. The torque sensor was generally well-tuned and responsive, but sometimes when pulling away from a standstill, it took a full turn of the pedals for the motor to kick in. Thankfully, this only happened a few times. And pedal assist was always responsive if the bike was already moving. With this bike's top speed of 15.5 miles per hour, I found little difference between higher assist levels. You can set the bike to have 3 pedal assist levels or 5. In 5-level mode, acceleration was similar across the Sport, Turbo, and Turbo Plus pedal assist levels. I noticed the difference mainly during climbs, where Turbo Plus was my favorite. The 250 watt motor was sluggish on steeper climbs. The gearing range allowed me to compensate with pedal power, but if you like to zip up steep hills in an effortless manner, this is not the bike for you. The Tektro brakes and 180mm rotors felt confident as I cruised city streets and tackled steeper off-road descents. On gravel paths and forest trails, the CST tire's fairly aggressive tread provides confidence-inspiring grip. I found the 120mm hydraulic suspension fork fairly plush for a budget component. It has adjustable preload, adjustable compression, and lockout. With compression fully open, the fork easily bottomed out for me. I found the middle of the 6th level of adjustment the best for a plush feel without being able to bottom out. So far, so good. But remember that Fiido markets the Nomads as a touring and trekking bike that can cover long distances off-road with the optional range extender fitted. Unfortunately, the bike's performance changes dramatically when you add weight and cargo. There's no provision for a front rack, so the range extender and any cargo have to go on the rear rack. I was shocked to see how badly the frame's composure degrades when weight is on the back. I tested the Nomads in 3 configurations, with just me riding, with the range extender kit on the back, and with the range extender kit and 30 pounds of cargo. You know, like you would have if you were touring or trekking on this bike. With just me on the bike, there's some frame flex, but it's barely noticeable. However, add the 17 pounds of range extender and the bike starts to feel squirrely. When you stand up to pedal, turn into a corner, or take your hands off the bars, you're rewarded with a worrying speed shimmy. The bike just doesn't feel stable, and the frame flexes as you pedal. It's manageable, but it's far from ideal or comfortable. And that's just with the range extender installed with the 2 batteries in the back. Add another 30 pounds of cargo, taking the total to 47 pounds, which is still below the max rating for the rack, and things get much worse. The bike now sways violently when you pedal out of the saddle. Cornering feels strange as the frame flexes and wants to tip over. A speed shimmy starts as soon as you take your hands off the bars, and you feel the frame flexing under all riding conditions. I'd really worry about something breaking. And remember, like I said, that's just 47 pounds. Fiido says the rack can carry 59 pounds. Not with me riding it, it won't. So you can see that the Nomad's lightweight frame simply isn't up to the demands that Fiido claims. The Nomads is no good for long rides, with anywhere near the stated cargo capacity. And there's no way that this bike is suited to touring. It could work as a light commuter, and it can handle light trails with no cargo. But if you're hoping to do some proper touring or trekking, you'll want a different bike. My first pro is pricing. For what you do get, the Nomads is priced competitively. It's a stylish bike that comes with accessories suitable for light commuting, plus great features like a torque sensor, 9-speed drivetrain, and hydraulic coil fork that would normally demand a higher price. My second pro is the multi-role utility. The Nomads covers all the bases. It's suitable for commuting during the week, and the cross-country geometry, suspension fork, and knobby tires cope well off the pavement. It's a good option for riders who want to ride to work and get out to play on the weekend, without spending a lot of money. And let's take a minute to talk about what didn't go so well in my cons. The first con is the frame quality and cargo carrying that I mentioned before. Fiido makes a big song and dance about the Nomad's ability to handle extended tours, trekking, and off-road adventures. However, the frame flex and speed wobbles I experienced when I loaded this bike up, not even to the full rated capacity, make the Nomads distinctly unsuited to touring or trekking. Some of this is down to all that weight being so far back on the rack. And indeed, as soon as I saw where the extra batteries are carried, I suspected that we would have a problem. However, the frame's lack of rigidity seems to play a big role in this. So even if you carried gear up front, I wonder how long this frame would actually last with all that wobble and flex going on. My second con is the speed limit. For buyers in North America, the Nomad's EU compliant 15.5 mph top speed will seem slow. Not tuning this bike to suit the USA's 20 mph and 28 mph speed limits is a big miss by Fiido. And my third con is the user manual. As I mentioned previously, the user manual is littered with confusing descriptions, and it lacks some key information, such as how some of the e-bike controls work and how to set up the suspension fork. In the small hill climb test, the Nomad's low top speed really hurt its performance. It ascended the longer, less steep hill in 3 minutes and 58 seconds, at an average speed of 14.9 mph, putting it in the back of the pack, with only the Velotric T1 ST Plus slouching in behind it. The Nomads fared better in the shorter, steeper climb, as its low top speed had less of a detrimental effect. Its final time of 3 minutes and 16 seconds, an average speed of 11.8 mph, puts it in the middle of this group of test bikes. The Fiido Nomads is limited to 15.5 mph, which it reaches in 7 seconds using pedal assist. This isn't as quick as other e-bikes I've tested, many of which hit 20 mph in 6 to 7 seconds using pedal assist. That said, this moderate acceleration is sufficient most of the time. After its underwhelming performances in the other tests, the Nomads finally came into its own during the range tests. Using the highest assist level, I was able to travel 31.76 miles, including 1,306 feet of elevation gain. This great result was far ahead of the other bikes. The closest competitors were the 10Ways Seago 600 Pro, which traveled 27.98 miles, and the Vanpower's Urban Cross Pro, which traveled 27.11 miles. Using Pedal Assist Sport, which is the third of the 5 assist levels available, the range stretched to 37.42 miles, including 1,440 feet of elevation gain. Once again, this was the best result of all the bikes in this comparison, with the closest competitor, the Vanpower's Urban Cross, coming in behind at 36.52 miles. In the braking test, the Nomads needed 19.5 feet to stop from 20 mph, which is slightly longer than the average distance of 18 feet from the bikes that we've tested. So is the Nomads the perfect companion for your daily rides? And how far can you go with the 3 batteries? The answer depends on where you live and what you need. The Nomads offers good value, as long as you're not hoping to go trekking on it. This bike's range, even with just the 1 battery, proves to be excellent. However, the 15.5 mph speed limit is a real disappointment, and it means that commutes take longer, and other Class 1 bikes zoom past 20 mph. The real problem here, however, seems to be the frame. Despite Fiido marketing this as a touring bike, the frame can't handle much weight on the rear rack without developing serious flex. With just the range extender setup, it's bad enough, but it becomes positively unsafe with heavier loads that are well below the rack's 59-pound capacity. The bike simply isn't suited to touring. The Nomads does work well as a commuter, but if you need to carry a lot of weight on the rack, or you really want to go touring, then this isn't the bike you want. What do you think about the Nomads? Are you happy to put in a little pedal power in exchange for great range? Or would you rather throttle your way to 20 mph on a Class 2 e-bike with more power? Let me know in the comments. And if you're still searching for your next e-bike, bikeride.com is a great place to learn more. We have hundreds of e-bike reviews and best bike lists to help narrow down your search in any category. Plus, you can check out cycling events near you, learn how to fix your bike with our repair guides, or join in on the conversation in our forums, where cyclists around the world talk about everything to do with 2 wheels. I'll be back soon with another e-bike review, and I hope you'll join me again. Thanks for watching.